Hey, it's Rob and welcome to Axel's Garage. Today we're continuing along with the rear drum brake job for the big dummy on his 1989 K5 Blazer. Now when I left you off, I had taken everything apart and I said I was going to clean it all up. Well, we got some crap weather here in New York. It's been snowing on and off. So when I got a good day in between, I scrubbed everything down with a degreaser and a regular like Dawn soap detergent on a long brush, and scrubbed it all out, let it dry out for a couple days. Then it snowed again, let it dry out again, and we actually got a good day yesterday where the sun came out and it warmed up a little bit. Everything was dry, so I hit it good with 2 coats of POR 15 top coat, and I used this here, the chassis black POR 15 top coat in an aerosol can. I like it because it's convenient and easy to use, rather than getting the POR on the brush or a chassis saver on a brush and putting that on. Just a little bit easier when you're working out in the driveway. If I had more time and maybe the vehicle up on a lift or everything, really, I'd like to brush it in. But for now, just to get a good protective coating on, make it look clean, but really to get that protective layer of paint on there. So that's on and it's drying, and it snowed again the next day. So I said, you know what, this is like taking forever. And really, in all actuality, a rear drum brake job on a basic American vehicle should only take you about, even for somebody that does it slow, about 45 minutes a wheel. It's really not hard and complicated. So in between, while we're waiting for the weather to clear up, I'm getting those parts ready that I had spoken about. Now, if you remember on the first video, and I'll put a link to it here, we had trouble getting the parking brake lever, I'll call it, off of the brake shoe here because it was real tight in that thing. So all I did was take a punch, put it on my vise, drove the punch through, and got it out. And now that old brake head could go in the garbage heap, and now I have this rusty lever, right? I also have that bar that went across right above the axle, and that's all rusty as well. Okay, I have the piece that hooks up for your brake adjuster that's got a spring on it. Okay, and that's all rusty and got a good coating of brake dust on it. Then there's that little, I'll call it a diamond sort of shaped thing that goes on the top stud that just keeps everything centered. And then you have your star adjuster. So what I did was I unscrewed the star adjuster and I took the cap off of this end. And I already started cleaning it up. And as I was cleaning it up, I remembered that I did get a message and a text, actually, an email and a text about what I'm doing with these pieces. So I was cleaning up and I said, you know what, it's crappy out and I could make a real quick video on getting these brake parts ready. So all I did was unscrew this all the way out, and I cleaned this up with the grinder, the wire wheel side of the bench grinder. And then this cap here, right here, pulls off. It was a little tough getting it off because it was all gooped up, but I'm going to take some cleaner, spray some cleaner in there, get in there with a rag and a pick, and then I'm also going to do the same thing on this end here, and then I can clean the whole thing up again with the wire wheel, make sure all those threads are clear. Okay, with this end that screws in, I'm going to spray some solvent in there as well, and I'm just going to go on the outside with the wire wheel also, and just get it all good and cleaned up. I'm also going to clean up that bar that goes straight across. I'm going to clean up that little diamond piece, and I'm going to clean up this guy here. Alright, I'm going to keep my brake adjuster lever on this side for now, and I'll show you why. So for those of you that didn't know, how we clean them up or what we do, all I'm doing is taking them over to the bench grinder and I'm hitting them with the wire wheel and getting them nice and clean. If you don't have a bench grinder, no big deal. You could do the same thing with a little wire pick, a little wire brush, some solvent, and a Scotch-Brite pad. However you want to clean it up, you can clean it up. It doesn't have to be immaculate. It's just a lot easier to work with clean parts. The star adjuster, however, does need to get cleaned up, so you got to do that if you don't have a bench grinder with a wire wheel, with a little wire brush, because you got to get those threads clean so that adjuster operates nice and smoothly. So I'll clean these parts up and then we'll continue with that. Alright, so what we have here now is our pieces, and they're cleaned up. You don't have to get crazy with it. Just get the loose dirt and rust off. If you only got to use a little brush, that's all you got, that's great. What I did with this was, I did this piece first, right? Came out nice and clean, but the threads on the inside are the things we really want to get clean. So all I did was fill it up with some carburetor cleaner, and I just stood it up against something, and I let it soak for a little bit, and then we can wash that out onto our rag. Adjust that camera a little bit for you. Alright, so we washed that out onto our rag. The same thing with the little cup. I filled it up with carburetor cleaner, and I'm just going to wash that out onto the rag as well. And the same thing with these parts here. What I'll just do is I'll take a little bit of carburetor cleaner, just spray them down real good. I'll take this, I'll spray this down. You can use brake cleaner if you want. You can use carburetor cleaner, it really doesn't matter. Then I'll just take this bar and give it a wipe. Okay, and that's ready to reinstall. This one here, I'll do the same thing. Give it a nice wipe, and it's ready to reinstall. Remember, this is where it was getting stuck in our brake shoe upon removal, so you want to make sure you get in there really good with the brush or the wire wheel so that any buildup around that thing is off. If you have to, take either some sandpaper, emery cloth, or a Scotch-Brite pad, and just give that a good twist around that thing, because we want to make sure that that is nice and clean so it fits into the new hole in the new brake shoe. Okay, and the same thing. Give it a little carburetor cleaner. Dry it off, and I'll lay it down. Right, star adjuster. Those threads are clean. You can see now, you could actually see the little adjustment teeth in this gearish kind of wheel. Couldn't even see that before because it was so gunked up. And this actually rides on this lever, so you can see those small teeth are important that they're clean. Alright, and now we got this. So all I'm going to do with this piece is I'm going to take a little pick or a little screwdriver or something like that, and I'm going to poke my rag down in there, and I am going to try to get it cleaned out as best as possible. Alright, and looking down in the hole, looks pretty good. I'll give it one last spray. Some carb cleaner. Dump it out and let it air out and dry. Same thing with this. This doesn't have any threads in it. It just rides on the other end of that star adjuster, so I'll take another corner of my rag. I'll plunge it in there with the carb cleaner. And I'll smush it around. That looks pretty good. Okay, now my last piece is this one. And there is a reason why I saved this one for last. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move all my stuff out of the way. I'm going to take a clean rag. I'm going to lay it out here on my bench. I'm going to take my piece there. I'm going to take my piece here. Star adjuster pieces. I'm going to lay everything right there. Alright, now we're going to look at this guy. So now, with this guy, I didn't take it apart yet because it's actually two pieces. There's this little piece here, which is on top, and the spring, and then this big piece. So what I want to do is I want to see what's in my brake spring kit. So I open my brake spring kit up, alright, and you know what, it's easier if I dump it all out. I'm going to dump it all out. Okay, so here's my E-clip for the parking brake lever where it attaches to the shoe. Okay, now I have this spring. This is my my spring for my adjuster on the bottom. Alright, because that goes over the star adjuster. Well, this one. These are the same. Oh, these are the two adjusters, one for either side. Alright, I got 4 of those little hold down springs. It's one for either side. I almost forgot that it's one for either side. So there should be a second E-clip in here. Let's see. And there isn't. Unless there was 2 and they were stuck together. No. Oh, there it is. Yep, there's the E-clip. It was wrapped on one of the springs. Alright, so I got my E-clips. 2 washers that didn't come off with the brake, so I guess you don't need them. We got 2 cups. Those are for the hold down springs. One for either side. And then we got 4 caps for the hold down springs. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these they gave us. We only need 4 of them, so we got 2 extra of these. Seems like whenever you get one of these, there's always extra parts in it. This metal clip, which I have no idea what this is. That wasn't in anything I took off, at least on this side. Okay, and now I have my springs. So I got my 2 bottom adjuster springs already in the thing. Alright, I got a top spring that goes on one side on either side. And I got a side spring that goes on one side on either side. These side springs are the ones that that fell off when I did, when I initially took it out. Alright, so there is no replacement for this spring here. So with that being the case, I know that I got to clean around this. So I'm not going to take all this apart, alright, because we're not even replacing this spring. So I'm going to give it a wire wheel on the easy side, on the bench grinder, and then I'll go in here with the hand wire brush to clean that up. That's the reason why I didn't take this apart. I wanted to compare it to the brake kit. Again, this brake kit, in the description below, brake kit is real cheap. I think it was 10 bucks for this vehicle. It covers both sides of the rear brakes. You only have to buy one kit. Alright, so after hitting that lever with the bench grinder and the hand wire brush, I got it nice and clean. Give it a little wash. Wipe it down. Kind of wish this spring came in the kit. It just doesn't. Alright. And there we go. This one's good as new, so I could lay this with my other parts, and I'll show you how we get that star adjuster ready. Alright, so with the star adjuster, we got the 3 pieces. You can use anti-seize or whatever you want. You know how anti-seize is. It gets all over the place. I like to use some regular white lithium grease. All I do is paint the threads with a thin coating of white lithium grease. Also, make sure you get it right in the corner on that wheel like that. You don't have to use a ton, but you just want to give it all a nice coating. Then you take your other end. This side happens to be reverse thread, which means the other side is going to spin exact. It's a mirror image on the other side, so the other side will be standard thread. Alright, you spin it all the way on, and you see some liquid came out, and that's just residual carburetor cleaner. One benefit of using brake cleaner when you're doing something like this is it evaporates faster. It's got a real high flash off on the brake cleaner. Alright, so put it in, wipe off any excess, and all I do is I take my white grease again, and I give it one more wipe. Alright, and this is going to keep this operating smoothly and stop any corrosion that might occur between the threads that would stop you from having it automatically adjust your brakes. And it's real nice and smooth now. Alright, and you can squish out any excess. Alright, you don't want this tight at all. You just want it nice and loose. Matter of fact, you could leave it a thread out if you really needed to. It doesn't have to be right up against there. Same thing on this cup. I got the cup clean. I'm going to take a little white grease on this side, and I'm just going to, alright, paint it around like that. And I'm going to take the cup, slide the cup on. Alright, spins nice. I'll put a little more. Alright, put the cup on. And take all that excess, squeeze the cup down. Take that excess off. This is ready to be reinstalled. Perfect. Nice and smooth. This end spins. This end spins nice. Perfect. So I'm going to lay it on my clean rag. And we'll continue along to, this is going to be our next one. We're going to take our brake shoe out, make sure that this fits in there right. Okay, here we have our new shoes. Got the long shoe. That's got the longest surface area. Alright. This one is going to go up like that in the shoe. You see how easy it fits in this shoe? It almost fits too easy, like I want to put it there. It doesn't go there. It fits right there. Alright, nice and easy. Which means we're going to have no problem. We put that little E-clip in, and this is in the right spot. Okay, so I'll do that now. Alright, we got our little E-clip that came in the kit, and a little needle nose pair of pliers is usually the best thing to try to use to get it in there, because these things can be a little bit of a pain in the ass. They try to fly away on you. But you grab that E-clip, try to slide it down on the groove. Just turning it a little bit so that you could see. So there's the E-clip. We want to get it onto that groove. Slide it onto the groove. And now it's retaining this arm, but you see how loose this arm is now. You can even hear it clanking a little bit. That's the way this arm is supposed to feel. Not how it was in that other one, where it was really tight in there and probably caused some operability problems with the parking brake setup. Alright, so we got everything cleaned up, ready to go. Everything worked out fine. The brake kit, like I said, make sure you know what parts you have in your brake kit before you start taking springs off and throwing them away. That's why I didn't take that other adjuster lever off. Alright, but now I can take the springs that I need from my spring kit and clips and put them in a box with my two new shoes, my new setup, my clean adjuster and my clean piece, and it's going to make the install go much easier. You don't have to come inside and do all this. This is just a little something extra that I'm doing because of the weather and because I'm just nuts sometimes about cleaning everything up and putting everything back on the car clean. Like I said, you could just rip the old shoes off, put the old shoes in, throw that drum on, get the wheel back on, and be on your way in, 45 minutes, a half hour aside, 45 minutes aside. I'm just doing this today and making a video because the weather's, this winter will not go away. And I had an hour to kill, so I figured I'd clean it up, get it ready, and answer some questions as to what exactly I was talking about when I said I'm going to clean and prepare my stuff. This was it. That's it today from Axel's Garage. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, thumbs up. It's right there on the bottom of the screen. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and check out our new channel, Axel's Kitchen, for all the foodies. As always, thanks for watching.